This is the Levoit tower fan for bedroom. If you're thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience. I've been using this fan mainly in a bedroom, with some time in a home office as well. My main concerns before getting it were noise, airflow, and whether the controls would be annoying at night. I also wanted something that would not take up much floor space. The setup was simple. The base comes in two pieces that connect around the bottom of the fan. I secured it with the locking nut underneath. I did not need any tools, and the whole process only took a couple of minutes. The fan weighs around 8.5 pounds, so I can move it between rooms without much effort. It stands about 36 inches tall, but the base is fairly small. I can place it near a bed, desk, or wall without it getting in the way. The white plastic body looks clean and plain. It does not draw much attention, which is what I wanted for a bedroom fan. The airflow feels smooth rather than harsh. There are 5 speed settings, so I can keep it low when I'm sitting close or turn it up when the room feels warm. On the higher settings, I can feel the air from across a typical bedroom. It also has a turbo mode when I want stronger airflow right away. One thing worth clearing up is that this is still a fan. It does not actually make cold air like an air conditioner. It moves the air that is already in the room. If the room is very hot, the air coming out will still be warm. I found it more useful when paired with air conditioning because it helps move the cooler air around the room. The 90-degree oscillation works well for wider coverage. I use it when 2 people are in the room or when I do not want the air blowing at one spot all night. The movement is steady, and the base stays stable while it turns. I did notice a faint mechanical sound during direction changes after using the oscillation regularly. It is not loud on my unit, but it is something I can hear in a very quiet room. Noise was one of my bigger concerns. At the lower speeds, this fan is quiet enough for me to sleep with it running. The sound is more like soft airflow than motor noise. It does become easier to hear as I increase the speed, which is normal. I would not describe the upper settings as silent, but they are still reasonable for the amount of air moving. Compared with a basic pedestal fan, the sound feels less choppy because there are no large exposed blades cutting through the air. A pedestal fan can move more air in one direct spot, but it also takes up more room and usually feels louder to me. Compared with cheaper tower fans I've used, this one gives me more control over the speed and does a better job of staying quiet on low. Sleep mode is the setting I use most at night. It turns off the display lights and mutes the button sounds. That matters more than I expected. I've used fans with bright displays that light up part of the room, and that can be distracting when I'm trying to sleep. This one keeps the room dark once sleep mode is active. The fan can also reduce its speed as the room gets cooler. I like that because I do not always want the same airflow for the entire night. I can start with more air and let the fan become gentler later. The temperature sensor also works with auto mode to change the fan speed based on the room temperature. I see auto mode as a convenience rather than something I depend on for exact temperature control. The sensor is measuring the air close to the fan, so it may not match a thermostat on the other side of the room. I also wish the temperature reading stayed visible longer. It appears briefly, but it is not always displayed. The controls are located on top. They are easy to understand, though the touch buttons sometimes need a more deliberate tap. The top location is convenient when I'm standing beside the fan. It is less convenient when I'm sitting across the room because I cannot clearly see the current setting. The included remote solves part of that problem. I can change the speed, mode, timer, and oscillation without getting out of bed. The remote is basic, but it does what I need. There is also a storage slot on the back of the fan. I try to put it there during the day because small fan remotes are very easy to lose. The timer can be set for up to 12 hours. I usually set it to turn off after I expect to be asleep. It is also useful in the office when I only want the fan running for part of the day. I would have liked a display that was easier to see from the front, especially while using the remote. Cleaning is less frustrating than with some tower fans I've owned. The rear cover can be removed, which gives me better access to dust around the intake and internal fan area. I still unplug it before cleaning, and I use a vacuum with a soft brush attachment. It takes a little time, but I do not have to take the whole body apart. The power cord is long enough for the places where I use it, though I still need to think about outlet position. Because the base is narrow, I make sure it sits on a flat floor. It feels stable during normal use, but I would keep it away from places where a child or pet might run into it. I think this fan makes the most sense for a bedroom, home office, or smaller living area. It is useful for someone who wants low noise, several speed choices, a remote, and a display that can turn off at night. It is also a practical choice when there is not enough room for a large pedestal fan. It may not be the right choice if you need to cool a very large room by itself. It also will not replace an air conditioner in hot weather. If maximum airflow matters more than noise or floor space, a larger traditional fan may suit you better. My experience has been mostly positive. I like the quiet low settings, the compact base, the remote, and the dark sleep mode. The top-only display and the faint sound from the oscillation are the main things I would change. Neither issue has stopped me from using it, but they are worth knowing before buying. I'd recommend it for someone who wants steady bedroom airflow without a lot of noise or complicated controls. Just keep your expectations realistic. It circulates air well, but it does not lower the actual room temperature on its own. If you have any questions about the Levoit Tower fan for bedroom, leave them in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more practical product reviews. Thank you for watching.